So hey guys, it's been a while for me, not for you. Last week you had a video from me that was shot a hell of a long time ago. This video that you're currently watching will have only been shot about a week ago from when it's uploaded. This video is going to be set here in this room. It's going to be classic talking to the camera video. I've not done one like this since I first arrived in Japan, so there's a lot of stuff to update you on. And we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to cover some of the trips I've done, and I'll explain to you why there's no videos for that in a moment, and then might end off the video kind of giving some more updates on just stuff that's outside of YouTube, and then also maybe talking about the future direction of the videos that I want to do during my kind of final portion of my stay in Japan, because it's been around about 7 months now, and I'm set to fly back to England fairly soon. But don't worry, there is some more exciting videos coming on the way, some really good ones, so you won't be starved for content. So anyway, let's get into this. You might see me looking over this way every now and then. That's because, let me show you real quick. I've got a little script. It's not really a script, it's just pointers of things to make sure I talk about, because there's quite a lot that's happened in this gap. So firstly, it's not like I wasn't recording videos. So I recorded a bunch of videos, and since my last video, which was the open air folk museum, I went and did a bunch of like side trips. I did like 2 days away in Nikko, Hakone. I did a week in Izu. I went to Nagano, and so I did these trips and I recorded them. They were big videos. They were like a new type of video I hadn't done before, like, you know, covering multi-days, and they were really good, really exciting, and I was quite proud of them. And like me, like how I usually do, I left editing really late for them, and so I amassed loads and loads of footage. And just as I caught up to those videos, it started getting really good, and I was editing the Nikko video. I edited about half of it, so I had day 1 of day 2 completed, and I was like, okay, that's it for the night. You know, turn my laptop off, do everything as normal, as I usually would do. And I woke up the next day. I didn't go on my laptop straight away, but like during like mid of the day, I go to continue editing. I was like, let's finish this video. So plug in my hard drive, because I transfer all of my, I take the SD out of the GoPro and I put it into here, and I put it into my laptop, and then I put it into this external G drive. It's like a 2 terabyte G drive. So I plugged that G drive into my laptop. It starts making these weird noises. It's like kind of like a beeping and then like a scratching kind of noise, and it won't read on my laptop. So I've contacted like G Tech support, and they've kind of just said basically it could be a power issue, like it's not getting enough power. So it might be an issue with my laptop, so I need to test it on another device and see if it still does the same thing. And if not, then I have to try and get like data recovery, and it's very unlikely that it will be successful. So as it currently stands, I've kind of let go. I haven't given up all hope on those videos. It was quite a big blow to me when I first realized that I might not be able to get those videos out there, because those were potentially my best videos. But I got over it quite quick, and there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do about it right now at this current moment. If the situation does change, I will let you know, and hopefully those videos will come out. But the one thing that you look at the silver linings, one good thing is that it's not like I lost everything. Also, not only were my videos on there, on that hard drive I had all my photos from Japan. Every single photo I've taken, I'd stored it on there. And so if I don't get it back, I've lost them all. But that being said, the silver lining is my Instagram. Theory and Explores. There was a period of time where I was like, oh, I just don't even want to do this Instagram thing anymore. Like, it's just a bit of a waste of time. Like, I'm already like saving all my photos here on this hard drive. Like, I don't need to post all these photos. It's a bit long, but I'm glad I did, and I posted. I've been incredibly active on my Instagram. I'm always updating my story, and so all my stories are still safe. So I still have footage from those trips, and I still have photos. Unfortunately there is some really cool bits that I didn't get on Instagram that I got in those videos. But so that's what we're going to talk about for the remainder of this video, the bulk of this video. What I'm going to do is, just in case we never see those videos, I don't want the stories and the things that happened during that trip to fade away. I would like to immortalize them in this video, and I'll talk about my experiences on each trip, and because there was some crazy stuff. So this is probably gonna be a longer video, and we're gonna do it in sections. So we'll start with Nickel, and then we'll move on to the other trips, and I'll just kind of walk you through it. And while we're doing it, if I'm a bit of an editing genius, which I know I'm not, then I might have the video, like a screen recording of my Instagram story going, and then some like pictures that I've managed to recover from my Instagram like posts. I might have them to showcase, so to give you, a visual for what I'm talking about when I can. And I'm hoping this video comes out on my weekly schedule, right? So Saturday night in England or Sunday morning in Japan. Hopefully this comes out and I get it edited and it'll go smoothly, but could be a bit long because I'm gonna have to get all these photos together. Anyway, let's go into Nikko. While my memory is still relatively fresh, it was a few months ago. So Nikko was 2 days, and I got the train there. I had the Nikko All Areas Pass. No, it wasn't the All Areas Pass. It was like the Nikko Pass. The All Areas Pass is the one I should have got, looking back on it. And my day one, so I arrived there in the morning. Day one, I did Shinkyo Bridge. Shinkyo Bridge is like the famous red bridge. I got a nice photo with it, and it was really beautiful. And it was autumn when I went, and all the loads of trees were red and orange, and those colours like I hadn't seen before in Japan, because during the first portion of my trip in summer, basically everything was green. It was just a green fest. But in Nikko, it was the first time seeing the different colours in the greenery, and it blew me away. And in that video, I was constantly just going like, look at that tree, look how red that tree is, it's the most red tree. And there was a tree that was so incredibly red, and I'll put it up on the screen now. It was breathtaking. I've literally got a note in the script that says red trees, that's it. So then I went to Rinnoji and Toshogu, which is a part of like the UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's like a shrine complex that's not far from that bridge, literally across the road from it. That area was beautiful. I remember those bits where you like walk this stairway kind of through a forest up to this like mausoleum, and the main shrine itself was really cool. And yeah, it was a lot of shrines and bridges for the first day, and then the kind of no, there's more. I went to Tamozawa Imperial Villa, which was cool. Might have some photos of that for you to see. And you just like kind of walk through it, and there was a garden area, which was nice. And then the last thing I did in day one was I went to, excuse the pronunciation, Kanmangafuchi Abyss, which was, you might see in the videos, it's like a river that runs through. It's kind of quieter, not as many tourists, and there was something funny that happened there. So I did my typical Theory and Explores type maneuver, and I went way down, like where all the tourists were, like you're walking along this route along it, but I was like, I want to get down close. So I did like some kind of monkey climbing maneuvers to get myself down right by the rocks. And there was a part where I was furthering and furthering. It was some treacherous footwork was going on. There was a part where there was this kind of really smooth rock that was slippery because it had splashing of water from like a little little waterfall next to it. And I wanted to get down further, and it was a sloped rock, and it was like a puddle at the bottom, like a big pool of water that had been kept because there was a divot in it. And I was recording with my right hand with the GoPro, and I knew that I couldn't walk down this, so I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crouch down and I'm going to slide it. I'm just going to slide down it, well, like standing slide, and then just like at the pond, the water at the bottom, I'll just like hop over, right? And it would have worked, but my brain wasn't registering that I didn't have a hand free. I was using my GoPro to record, so when I went down and I used my hand to stabilize, I only had my left, and when I went to stabilize with my right, I just like basically just like completely flopped onto my side. It was on the video as well. Flopped on my side and then just went straight into the water, and I had a wet bum for the rest of the day. But yeah, it was a good memory, and I kind of, obviously it's gone now, but I like bruised up and cut my elbow because I went straight into the rock. But that was a good memory. Then I checked into my hostel, which was really cheap. I remember it was like £17 a night, and there was nothing in particular to really report about the hostel. It was very just standard. And then day 2 was a really exciting one. Day 2 started off going to the Akechidaira ropeway, which led up to a mountain. And up on top of that mountain, you get this amazing view, and you can see Kigon Falls in the distance, which is like one of the, I forgot the statistic, it's like top 3 waterfalls in Japan, and it's like really high up, like 100 meters above sea level or something. No, I think it's even more than that. I don't remember the exact thing, but I remember it was like it's a very big waterfall, and you could even hear it from the top of this mountain. You could hear it. So I did that, came down the ropeway, then headed to the falls itself, and you take this elevator, and for some reason my mind was bugging, and I thought the elevator went up to get to it, but the elevator actually goes underground and takes you to the base level of the waterfall, and you get like a really amazing view of it. And that waterfall was probably is the best waterfall I've seen. I remember during this trip also I got really excited because it was going into autumn and it was meant to get colder, so I brought lots of winter gear and I dressed quite warmly, and I got there and it was like 21 degrees and I was overheating the whole day. So saw the falls. Then I remember coming out of the falls, there was this like street vendor selling these grilled fish on a stick, like whole fish, head and everything, teeth. And I bought one of those and I ate the whole thing, and I couldn't eat the head. I left just the head. But I was eating his whole spinal cord and everything, and that was a cool experience. There's no footage of that, it was only on my GoPro. Then after that, I headed to probably my favourite part of the Nikko trip, which was the Chuzenji Lake, Lake Chuzenji kind of portion of it, where I went to Chuzenji Temple, which had this amazing, oh my god, Chuzenji Temple had this amazing view from the top, and one of my favourite pictures I've ever taken. There's like this balcony, you've got these red trees and you see the blue lake in the distance and like this roof of a shrine. Yeah, it's one of my favourite photos I've taken. So there was Chuzenji Temple, the lake itself, I walked around it. Then there was kind of there was like an English embassy that I went to, and they were like treating me so nice in there because I told them I was British, and they wanted to get like photos of me sitting on like a thing looking out onto the deck, and there was loads of like British ornaments and stuff, and it was weird actually, because I was like, oh, this feels kind of like back home. Yeah, that was cool. And then I went to Ryuzu Falls, which was cool. Ryuzu Falls was good. And so I did 3 waterfalls in this day. Kigon, Ryuzu, and then the last one I did was Yudaki Falls. And that was the last thing I did in Nikko before heading back to Tokyo in the evening. I remember it was about 3 hours by train to get from Tokyo there. So you honestly, if you got limited express instead of doing local trains like I did, and you got there much sooner, and you went there in the morning, early morning, you got there as early as possible, I really think you could do Nikko as a day trip. I think it's possible. It would be intense, but there's things you could leave out. You could leave out the Tamazawa Imperial Villa. You could leave out the Kanmanga Fuji Abyss. Literally, go see the bridge. Go see Toshogu. then head to, you know, you can even skip the ropeway, but head to like Kegon Falls and Lake Chuzenji, and that's an amazing day trip, and it's definitely possible in a day. You can definitely do it in a day. And the All Areas Pass covers all the buses, and there's like no trains out there, so you're going to be using a hell of a lot of buses. And it worked out cheaper if you get that. I think it also includes a train ride back from Asakusa Station, so Asakusa Station to there and then back. And I stayed near Tobu Nikko Station. I'm surprised I remember all this. And I think you can, for an additional fee, get the Limited Express, but just remember the Limited Express train is not included. And when you plan your trip, you might factor in the Limited Express. It was the first time I ever tried to take Limited Express, and I realised I couldn't get it and it was sold out. I had to take local trains. Local trains were long, super long, but still an amazing trip, regardless. And I don't know, maybe at the end we'll talk about what my favourite one I did was. Coming up after that is a classic trip that many people do, which is Hakone, which is really close to Fuji. Day one, I arrived, you get there and then you take like this cable car, and I had the Hakone pass, Hakone free pass, which you have to get. You save a lot of money doing that, and that includes the ticket from Shinjuku to there. So like the whole thing, all your travel sorted for like, I don't even remember how much it cost, but remember it wasn't much. You guys can figure out. I booked it through Klook. And the first stop was Owakudani, which is like this up in the mountains. You take this ropeway. There's like some sulfur and stuff, and it was really cool. And that's one of the first video you'll probably see of my Hakone trip highlights, is me going over the top on the ropeway and seeing the sulfur. And there was these black eggs, and I was being silly. I remember in the GoPro I was planning to do like a compilation of me eating these eggs, because I was literally just I was doing them in one. These black eggs, hard-boiled eggs that were hot, and they were super cheap. You'd buy like 4 at once. I just buy them, and then I was going to like crack open, boom, next one, boom, and I planned to edit it, so it was just like seamless, just bang, 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 bang. It would be super suspect, but I think it would have been quite humorous. So did that, then took the ropeway down the other side of the mountain to Lake Ashi, and Lake Ashi was really, really cool. I preferred Lake Chuzenji because the weather in Nikko was, I'd say it was nicer than when I was in Hakone. Hakone was a bit colder and a bit grayer. But I went to see Hakone Shrine, and bro, Hakone Shrine, I'll put a photo of it up right now. It's a photo that I got of it. Oh my god, Hakone Shrine. So it's famous. It's so famous because it's got this like torii gate in the water, and everyone wants to get a photo with it. And I went there going like, oh yeah, I'll get a photo too. So I went there, and the queue to get the photo was absolutely unreal, and it just wasn't moving at all, because people would be taking their photos, and then they'd look at the photos and go, oh no, can we get more like this angle? Oh no, can you get something like this? And people were taking like 5 minutes per person, and it was a massive queue. So I was like, oh hell no, I'm not queuing for this, because this is going to ruin my day. Like, I'll look back on this photo and go, oh, that was painful. It won't be a good memory. And the photo I got, I was like, I don't need me in it. I can edit myself into it. I can crop myself with a sticker and put myself in the middle if I really wanted to. But the way I got that was I literally just waited until someone was leaving and the other person. So I waited for that in-between moment where 2 people were crossing over, and I got it empty, which was really cool. And so what I did during that time was I went to Hakone En ropeway, took up to another mountain that overlooks Lake Ashi, and it was really cool up there. And it took like half an hour to walk there, and then I was there for like an hour, and then half an hour to walk back. And I crossed back past Hakone Shrine, and there was still the same people I'd seen in that queue were still queuing. So people were queuing for like well over 2 hours to get a photo, which is insane. So then got back to the hostel, this one actually was really cool. It had it's like Iori guest house. It had this, I think it's called like Iori. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's like in the main shared room. There was like this hearth, like a grill that is embedded into the floor, and you can like sit around it. It's very like traditional. And when I first arrived, they were like, oh yeah, do you want to like take part in like making fish and vegetables and, you know, topping up on rice? And I was eating so much rice because it was free. I was like, yeah, man, I paid like all you can eat. Bam, I'm smashing that rice. And it was cool. Like, met some really nice people, and that was a good experience. I liked that hostel. And once again, it was really cheap. It was like £18. So I woke up in the morning next day, and I went to Hakone Open Air Museum. There's some really, really cool stuff there. Some really weird looking art things, exhibitions. There was like a Picasso building. We learned a lot about Picasso, which was interesting. I didn't actually really know much about him before. And then after that, I went on a bit of a trip. I forgot to even mention, so on Lake Ashi, I did it again here. To cross Lake Ashi, there's like a pirate ship. There's like 2 pirate ships that go. And I went on the pirate ship, and I was up right on the top deck, literally like at where the mast is, the very front. Literally just looking out on this pirate ship, crossing this lake. And that was such a cool experience. That was an amazing experience. I loved that. Absolutely loved it. So then from there, I went on a bit of a further journey to Mishima Skywalk. And Mishima Skywalk was really cool. That was really, really, really cool. And the area where that is, there's like, you can do like some Go Ape type stuff and some zip lining. I didn't actually do that, but the Skywalk itself was really cool. You get a really cool view of like the city near Mishima. And that was kind of the end. Oh no, another thing. I went to my first onsen in the evening before I headed back to Tokyo. Like Hakone Yumato station, it was near there. And I was like the only foreigner there. There was loads and loads of Japanese guys, and initially I was quite nervous. Because like in England, we don't really have like the naked sauna and like thermal hot spring culture. We don't do it naked. We don't do it much at all, really. And I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. I'm not used to it, but I'll do it. Like, yeah, I'll do it. And as soon as I got into the changing room, and there was like literally like 30 naked Japanese guys, I instantly felt like that nervousness just faded away straight away, because you can tell they just don't care. Like, it's completely normal to them, and so it feels normal for you. It'd be different if we were doing it in England, and because you know people like feel really conscious, but they didn't. No one there felt like conscious, and no one was looking at each other. So the energy was very comfortable actually, and I really enjoyed that onsen. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. I loved the onsen. I've done a couple since, and there's a story that I'll get onto later. I might do a separate video talking about it, because yeah, I had one of the funniest things happen to me in Japan, but that's for later, in another story, another time. And that wasn't in Hakone. So Hakone ended. We ranked them so far, I'd put Nikko above Hakone, for sure. Then I did a bit of a weird trip, right? This was an unexpected one. I did one to Izu, Izu Peninsula. And Izu Peninsula is known for its like waterfalls and coast, and I hadn't really spent much time near the coast. And I was on Airbnb looking at Izu, and I was like, oh, let's see, like, you know, what can we find? And I find one that's like £2 a night. And I was like, that's weird, let me click on it. Basically, it wasn't actually £2 a night, it was free. It was an advert. It was basically like, oh yeah, you can work, you know, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. And it was like 1 hour in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, 3 hours a day, in exchange for accommodation and free breakfast. And I messaged the Airbnb guy, and I was like, yo, like, I'm up for it. I'll do it for a week. And then did it for a week. I actually did it for 5 days in the end. And so yeah, I had that planned. What I did was I went from Tokyo. I stopped off in Ito. I went to like the marine place. The marine town, marine port. I forgot what it's called. And saw the orange beach, and Ito was really cool. Then I stopped off a little bit further along it to Jogasaki Coast, which was amazing. There was a big bridge, and there's some cool photos of me like right by the coast. And Jogasaki Coast was really, really cool, and there was barely any tourists at all. Like Izu in general, I barely saw any tourists at all. It's just not that popular, and I think it should be more popular. I think Izu is underrated. Izu is an amazing trip to do, and I was constantly surprised by how much I liked Izu. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. So then I got to the hotel, and the hotel was weird. I remember like the first time I arrived in the evening, I got there. I made sure to check with them. I was like, is it okay that I can't speak Japanese? I'm like, it's fine. Like they're like, oh, we just want you to kind of speak with other foreigners, like foreign guests. I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. And I thought it'd be like bar work that I'd be doing. So I get there, and it's quiet there, super quiet. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in Shimoda. It was right at the tip, kind of end. It's right at the end of Izu. It was a beautiful location, like super, super quiet and rural. And I had to get this like bus that only runs like 3 times a day. And it's basically a school bus to get to this area. And so I got in, spoke with the owner, and we were using like Google Translate to communicate. Showed me to my room. I had a massive room to myself. Like the room was humongous. I had this amazing view. And there was an onsen as well in the hotel, and I was able to use it all. But what I always do whenever I check in somewhere is I set up my room, unpack my stuff, and then I like to have like a walk around and kind of get a feel for the place, see what's around. And the place was humongous, right? But I had this feeling like I'm the only person here. And I think that was false, but there was barely anyone there. It was like a ghost town at night, walking around. It was almost creepy. Like I felt creeped out. So then I woke up next day, and the owner was actually really nice. He was Chinese, and he was like, oh, do you want to use the bike? I was like, oh yeah, I'll use the bike. Cool. And so my plan for the day completely shifted because he basically let me use this electric bike, and I was on this electric bike all day long, and it was so cool, and it was super like hilly and kind of mountainous where I was, and so you need an electric bike. Like, your legs would actually die. Like there was points where I was going up so steep and I had to turn that thing up to max power. I went to Cape Tsumekizaki, which had like a lighthouse, and it was beautiful, and on the bike you're able to get places where buses just don't go, and it'd be impossible to get to unless you can drive or cycle. And so these spots were completely super quiet and local. I saw like no foreigners the whole day. Then from there I did a really long bike ride. Oh my god, it was amazing. Oh, it was such a good memory. And I recorded on my GoPro. I had like chest mount, and I was on the bike cycling around through Izu, and that's something that's one of the biggest bummers, was losing that footage. That footage would have been amazing. It would have been so cool. It was unreal. There's a little video of it. You probably saw it on the Instagram story bit. And there's some photos of me with the bike that I'll put up now. And I cycled to Shirahama Beach, which was amazing. Shirahama Beach was so cool. Shirahama Shrine and Beach. And it's like literally like on the right at the beach, there's like a rock in the ocean with a gate on it, and you can get up to that rock, but you have to like wait to time it with the waves, and then like run up, otherwise the waves will get you. And I got up there and I got a photo with it, and that was stunning. That was absolutely stunning. So I did that, then got back to the hotel. Next day I did a day out in Shimoda itself, did like Shimoda ropeway, and yeah, just like kind of walked around Shimoda, and there was a place called like Perry Road. Perry Road was really cool. And I went to like a cafe there. I had all these like red flowers on the entrance. Very European looking place, because it was influenced by like trade. It's like a port town. And English guy that arrived called Admiral Perry, who's a historical figure, so very English and European inspired. Then the next day, my final day, I went to the Kawazu 7 waterfalls, and so this day I saw 8 waterfalls. So I did the Kawazu 7. I've got a post of that on my Instagram, so I'll put those photos up now. And that was amazing. It was a kind of, it wasn't like a hike because you won't go through mountains, but it was like a trail, like a walking trail that leads you up this stream that has 7 waterfalls. And one of the waterfalls was like, most of them were pretty small, but one of them was pretty big, pretty damn big. Then from there, I got the bus to Joran Falls, which is probably like the most famous waterfall in Izu, which was big, and that was really cool. And then I passed through Shuzenji kind of onsen area. I went to Shuzenji Temple, and there was like a little mini bamboo walk. It's not a bamboo forest, literally like a 30-second bamboo pathway, which was cool. Then I headed back to Tokyo from there, passing back through Mishima. And you might be asking about the work. Oh, what happened with the work? So first like 2 or 3 days, he was like, oh, you don't need to work, by the way. I was like, okay, cool. And then when it was time for me to work, it was really weird. Really, really weird. Like they basically had 2 bars, like a restaurant bar and a regular bar. But if you guys don't know, I was a bartender in England for like 2.5 years. But this bar was shaky. Like you could tell that it's not really being used and that they're just kind of opening it. And because it was missing all types of stuff, like they had bottles of wine but no cork opener, no wine opener, right? Like just like really basic stuff. Like the one thing they did have was a polished cloth. That's it. No bar blade, nothing. No till system on the top bar. And luckily, I never had to kind of serve anyone. Basically, I was like, I can't work this bar. This bar is like, you know, it's not great. It's not great looking. So what I offered to do was I said, listen, if you provide me with a laptop, I will design you a menu, because they didn't really have one there. They didn't have, like, they basically ordered in all these new wines, red wines, and whiskies, and I knew kind of nothing about it. So what I did was I wrote them a comprehensive menu, like descriptions for each whiskey, and it was like very I was actually quite proud of this work, as I used I did use a bit of ChatGPT to generate some like fancy descriptions for the whiskey, and I also wrote him up a guide, like how to price it, how to serve everything, and like the things that you should know about the whiskey, like the region, and the same thing for wine, like the sizes and the pricing and the importance of each aspect and the notes and how you serve. So that's what I did for my work, which was really quite cool. And I was happy doing that, like a bit of menu designing, and yeah, so I kind of got away with not having to do much work at all. So that was Izu. Izu versus Nikko is difficult because I was in Izu for a long old time. I was there for like more than double the length of Nikko. So it's difficult. It's really difficult. I don't really know how to say which one's better or not. They were very different. Yes, they had waterfalls, but Izu was it was just a very unique experience for me. But Nikko, I'd say, had more beautiful things, but less of them. Whereas Izu has a hell of a lot of stuff you can do. Like, I could have spent 3 weeks there and probably still had stuff to do. Also, I want to apologise if I look quite rough. There's a bit of water on my nose. I went out. I'm in Osaka right now, if you guys couldn't tell. I was at Okonomiyaki Baby's spot last night and was drinking. Okay, so that's why I might look a bit rough. I certainly feel rough. Got a bit of a headache. Anyways, that's Izu. And then let's move on to the last one, which was Nagano. And I don't want to make this video too long. I know it's already going to be fairly lengthy, but that's why I'm going to save the crazy story from Nagano with the little spoiler alert. It'll be an upcoming video, like let's just give you the little teasers. I ended up naked with monkeys in the snowy mountains of Nagano. And one of the most embarrassing moments of my life also happened, because there was a portion where I was standing butt naked out in the snowy mountains in vicinity of fully clothed females and also families and their children. They were all able to gaze upon my wares in -2-degree weather. I'll do another video. I'll do a story time. I quite enjoy doing this talking to the camera. It's different. I'm not used to doing this. So I'll do another video for that. But anyway, let's get into Nagano. So Nagano, I got the overnight bus there. And yes, I got overnight bus to Nagano, and I barely slept. I got like literally 2 hours of sleep. It was bad. 2 hours of sleep. Arrived at 5 AM. And straight away went to Zenkoji Temple. It was super quiet. It was really cool. Got to see the sunset there, sunrise there. And I also, it was like, yeah, so it was snowy as soon as I arrived. But only a little bit in kind of Zenkoji, in the city of Nagano. And then I was like walking around the temple complex, and I found myself in this situation where like these Japanese guys invited me into this temple, and they started like throat singing, like, you know, like Mongolian. I can't do it like that type of thing, right? And I was standing in this room full of like monks doing that, and I was like, I'm not joining in. I can't, because there was lyrics. I was like, I can't read these lyrics. I can't read these lyrics fast enough to do it. But that was funny, and I got some of that on the GoPro, but that footage is in purgatory as it stands. So then from there, I went to the monkey onsen. So this is the part where I went to like into the snowy mountains. I got this bus out there, and this was my first time seeing snow in Japan. I'll put some photos up of like me in the snow and the snowy parts of the Instagram story. And that was beautiful. That was a major highlight. Like walking through the snow on my way up to see these monkeys. And the way the story goes is that, well, it's the onsen that I went to. So I went to this onsen afterwards. There's an onsen out in these mountains where like long time ago, the owners noticed that the monkeys from the mountains would come down and like enjoy the waters. And so what they did was they made an onsen just for the monkeys, which you can then go and visit. You can't go in to the onsen, you can't get in with them, but you can go and see them. And they're not like monkeys held captive, literally, like this is out in the open of the mountains. And like when I first got there wasn't many monkeys. It was so cool though. I was like, whoa, there's monkeys in an onsen in front of me, like just like running around right in front of me, no barrier, and like running between my legs and everything. And there was a point, it was really funny, where I was taking a picture on my tripod was set up, and I was trying to take a photo with these monkeys, and I see my tripod just slowly like drifting away, and I was like, what's going on? I look down at the bottom, and there's a baby monkey like grabbing onto one of the legs, trying to steal my tripod. Oh man. And yeah, but so there wasn't many monkeys, and then all of a sudden I look off into the distance, and I'm not lying, there's hundreds of monkeys descending from the snowy mountains, all coming towards this onsen. And it was just, that was a magical experience. And if you know me, you know I love monkeys, so I was absolutely living my best life in that time. It was extremely enjoyable. And so what I did was I went to the original onsen where they noticed that monkeys first started coming, and in hopes of bathing with the monkeys, because you can get into this one and it's not guaranteed the monkeys will come, but they might. So I went to this onsen, and let's just say I did end up naked with monkeys, but I also did end up naked with fully clothed people. There'll be another video explaining the story for that, because it was hilarious. So funny. Anyway, that was it for Nagano, day 1. So I got back to the hostel, staying near Nagano station, and nothing special to report on the hostel either. The only really good hostel I went to in terms of like social stuff was the one in Hakone. Then day 2, I went on a day trip to Matsumoto. I went to Matsumoto Castle, which is one of the best castles in the country. It's really cool, really beautiful, like black castle. And there was like this guy dressed up as a samurai that he came up and was talking to me, and he was like a full costume. He had these weapons, like a spear, a sword, and he asked if I wanted to take a photo with him. I was like, sure. So I took these photos with him, which were pretty cool. And then I headed back to Nagano, and I had another overnight bus back to Shinjuku, and I had a few hours. So I went to a bar. I went to an English pub called the Red Dragon in Nagano City, and it was really cool there. Really cool. The owner spoke really good English, and he had gone and studied in Pilsner in Czech, like beer, and so he was like very knowledgeable, very good bartender, and yeah, I had a really good night in that Red Dragon English pub. Then got the overnight bus back to Shinjuku, and that's it for the day trips, for the weekends away that I did, the multi-day trips. So you're all caught up with that. I'm gonna need to edit this video. It's gonna be long. I don't really want to. I hate editing, especially with this laptop. But also, beyond that, my dad came for Christmas and New Year's. So I took my dad, I showed him around Tokyo, then I showed him Kyoto, Nara, Osaka. We did a day in Kobe, went to Universal Studios. I'll put the Universal Studios photos up now because they were quite funny. And Universal Studios, that includes Nintendo World and the newly opened Donkey Kong Country. And you know I love monkeys, so I was very excited to go to Donkey Kong Country, and I got this Donkey Kong hat. But Universal Studios was amazing, absolutely amazing, and so was Osaka. That's why I'm back here for the 3rd time, and I'll probably end up going to Osaka like 4 or 5 times by the time I go back to England, because Osaka is still my favourite place. As I'm recording this, I'm on a big trip. I'm like 2 weeks into a trip, and I'm recording videos for this. There's gonna be lots and lots of videos, so it's type of stuff you can expect coming in the future. I went and did one of the scariest top 5 roller coasters in the whole world, Hakugei at Nagashima Spa-Land. I went to Ise Grand Shrine, the most important shrine in the whole of Japan, in the Ise city, Mie Prefecture. I did the Nakasendo Trail, you know, hundreds of years old route that connects between Tokyo and Kyoto, but I only did 3 hours of it, and it was snowy. It was so snowy, and I was like the only person there, and it was absolutely that's one of my favourite memories of the whole of Japan. That was only last week. Then Osaka, I did Koyasan yesterday. I went up to this temple complex up in the mountains. I did a hike in Osaka, which was really cool. Got this amazing view where you could see both Tokyo, you could see Kyoto and Osaka at the same time, because it was in the middle of them. And I went to Mino Falls and done some nights out in Osaka, and I'm doing another one tonight. And then I want to go to like Himeji and do a bit more in Kobe at some point this week before heading off to Hiroshima, and then we'll be shooting videos there and also in Fukuoka. So there's plenty of stuff to come. So we're going to close up this video now because I don't want it to be too long. Kind of just talking about, and my battery's about to die, kind of just talking about the future of what I want to do with my videos. So I'm just going to go back to doing normal videos, hopefully weekly uploads, maybe even a bit more regular, since I've got a lot of videos coming and I've got so much footage based on this past 2 weeks. But beyond the regular travel videos, I'd also like to start doing some more sit-down videos, some more story times, you know, talking about more of my experiences and stuff I don't record, talking about tips and how I plan my itineraries and you know, just guides to Japan and observations I've made and that type of stuff. Some more informative content, right? I might actually start doing some of that. And also, like, I know we just talked about these trips, but it's not really an update video. Like, I would at some point do an update video, actually kind of talk about the experience of Japan as a whole. But I might do that. I might save that to the end, the very end of the trip. And also, you've got a story time video of Nagano should be coming at some point. And yeah, I just kind of want to expand, try some new styles of content. I might not stick with them, but I'm going to stay with the weekly uploads of the traveling stuff, and then maybe fit some other stuff in. But those videos probably won't come for a while. I'll probably do them when I get back to Tokyo. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know what's going on with me and why there's a big jump in the videos. So this video is more so for me and for my family members to get an idea of what I've been up to over the past few months. And I feel rough. I feel really rough right now. Oh, man. Well, I'm not used to doing this. I've sat here and talked to this camera for like almost 50 minutes straight. Damn. When did I get, like, it's weird how I've got kind of comfortable talking to you guys now. Like, yeah, it feels quite natural talking to the camera. I need to hydrate, man. I need to hydrate. But yeah, so exciting stuff to come in the future. I've got another friend that should be coming out, and then I've got maybe 2 friends coming out, potentially even 3. So there's gonna be plenty of stuff to come. And my battery is about to die, so I'm just gonna check the script. I think I've covered absolutely everything. Yeah, so my camera did run out of battery, but I just changed over the battery to do the outro for the video. So I've talked for long enough. This should be the only cut in the whole video, as I'm probably just gonna upload it raw and just add the kind of B-roll over it when needed, and that's probably gonna take some time. Editing on this laptop is pain, but yeah, probably gonna leave it there, and I'll catch you guys in next week's episode, which should be of the new series of videos starting off in Nagoya. So I'll catch you guys then. Have a good evening, good morning, good night, whenever you're seeing this, and yeah, see you guys around. Peace. I think I need to go higher. Anything. A bit like this. I'm closer, you need to come closer. Get over here, girl. Come on, don't be shy. I think that's alright. I'm not a pro at this. It doesn't have to be amazing, it's just an update video. Alright, should we do one of those iconic YouTuber intros where they start out of the chair and then walk in? Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do to open it. I don't even know what I'm gonna say. I think I'm just gonna record and go for it. Okay, let's do it.